At approximately 9:35 a.m. on December 14, 2012, after murdering his mother sometime earlier that morning, 20-year-old Adam Lanza shot out a window beside a security door at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut, and forced his way inside. Despite the heroic efforts of the principal and several teachers, Lanza would later go on to shoot 20 children and 6 adults at the school before committing suicide. Later, when investigation documents were released to the public, police reports showed that Lanza had fired 154 rounds in under 5 minutes. 1 month later, in January 2013, grieving family members Mark Barden, Nicole Hockley, and Tim Macris came together to found the Sandy Hook Promise Foundation in Newtown, Connecticut. Their mission and the driving goal of the organization is to prevent gun-related deaths due to crime, suicide, and accidental discharge so that no other parent experiences the senseless, horrific loss of their child. A pillar of the organization's work is the promise. Visitors to the website and those who attend events and trainings organized by the foundation are encouraged to make the promise, which reads, "I promise to do all I can to protect children from gun violence by encouraging and supporting solutions that create safer, healthier homes, schools, and communities." As of the date of this presentation, over 3 million people have made that promise as a direct result of the work of Sandy Hook Promise Foundation. Two of the primary approaches that Sandy Hook Promise, or SHP, takes in support of its mission is to focus on education and awareness of mental health issues, and to recruit parents, schools, and communities to join SHP programs through social media, advertising, speaking engagements, and many other ways. In this presentation, we will be focusing on how SHP has used digital and social media advertising in the form of a PSA video campaign they call the Know the Signs. The campaign includes annual releases of videos made to be shared and promoted through social media platforms with the message that gun violence is preventable when you know the signs. This presentation will focus on one particular example of the public service announcement campaign. A video titled Evan that was released in December 2016, almost 4 years after the Sandy Hook school shooting occurred in Newtown. The video starts out with cheerful music and seems to tell a light, relatable story about a couple of teenagers who exchange anonymous notes by writing on a desk. We follow Evan, the young man, who searches the faces of his female classmates, trying to identify who his anonymous pen pal may be. After a brief disappointment, the couple finally meet in the gymnasium on the last day of school while picking up their yearbooks. Just as they connect, a figure appears in the doorway and brandishes a gun. Screams ensue, and the screen fades to black, with text telling the viewer that the signs that this was being planned were there all along, had they only known what to look for. Then the scenes are replayed, with the gunman highlighted in each. The message is loud and clear. There are usually signs that someone is planning a shooting, but they're easy to miss unless you know what to look for. The video, created by BBDO New York, was an advertising success story, winning multiple extremely prestigious awards. It provided an enormous challenge to the writers and directors at BBDO, who felt that the typical PSA format listing the warning signs and lecturing viewers to be aware of them was not have the impact needed. Instead, when thinking about how mass shootings generally have warning signs that are not recognized until much later, they decided to show the story in a way that would actually make the viewers understand at a visceral level how easy it is to ignore those warning signs. So the video was created by a creative agency and posted on YouTube, then shared through all of the organization's social media channels, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, and Instagram. And then something amazing happened. The video went viral. And not just a little viral, it exploded onto the scene with over 100 million views in the first week, and eventually reached over 115 million views. An additional 2 billion impressions, or mentions and references, showed up in 133 countries worldwide, and users who viewed it shared their reactions by creating videos that reached several million more people. Major news outlets began covering it, and ultimately the video was adopted as a training film by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. That is how this extremely simple but effective PSA video delivered SHP's message to an incredibly large population within an extremely short window, and resulted in an 11-fold increase in participants registering for SHP's Voluntary Promise Leader program. The positive impact of this PSA was profound for the organization. It did exactly what it was designed to do. It shared the message, educated the public, increased awareness of the organization's Know the Signs program, and increased public dialogue about mental health and gun violence. In addition, SHP saw a measurable increase in participation in its programs. Before the release of Evan, the 2015 reported numbers for people who had made the promise was 450,000, and the organization had 1,000 volunteer promise leaders. Shortly after the release, just a month later, SHP reported that over 1 million people were on record as having made the promise. While probably not all of that increase could be directly attributed to Evan, since it was over the course of a year, it was a major jump, more than double the previous reported figure, and represented a sharp uptick. And that trend continued. Another 500,000 people had made the promise by the end of that year, and volunteer promise leaders more than doubled to 2,400. So the question is, why did this simple video work so well? Consensus is that the video did so well because it was relatable. Most of us have not experienced the loss of a loved one through gun violence, and this way of framing the story helped people understand how easy it would be for them to miss signs and what those signs might look like. Though Evan was an incredibly effective PSA, there are some things that might have been done to improve it. The portrayal of the shooter seems to be a stereotype of a male, white, antisocial loner. It should be explicitly pointed out that the mental illness, loneliness, and bullying don't always manifest in school shootings. And it could be argued that the video has an unintended message implying that the victims in the community should have noticed signs and prevented the incident. There is no tangible action suggested in the video that might have changed the outcome. These issues might have been addressed by considering using a less stereotypical representation of the possible shooter, such as a teenage girl or a person of color. Including an additional text screen at the end to give actual statistics on the connection between mental illness and mass shootings might also have helped. Including an additional text screen with specific actions that can be taken if you suspect or are aware that someone is planning a mass shooting would also have been a good idea. The Evan video was the most successful of SHP's PSA videos so far, and shows the way that the organization uses digital media to communicate ideas and influence action. The viral popularity of the video helped amplify SHP's core messaging and support its mission. The video raised public awareness around the issues of preventing gun violence, supporting mental health, and identifying at-risk individuals. SHP experienced increased visibility and recruited more members as a result of the video, increasing the organization's influence and reach. I'll be happy to take your questions.